Susanne Bier is the Emmy-winning director from The Night Manager, and her latest project has been The Undoing, which just finished its run on HBO here in America. Susanne, great reviews. I think the audience built every single week, which is what you want, especially on a thriller where they're trying to figure out what's going on and what's happening. What was your response to the audience response as it was developing?
I mean, it was really fun because it sort of took off in a crazy way, or I mean, the audience literally went into kind of full gear, speculating about who is the villain, who could they trust, who had said what. And I got all these, I kind of suddenly got mails from people that I haven't heard from years, asking about this one character. Why did he or she do that? And on my parents' friends, my mom would call up my parents and kind of go. So I would get all those kind of call, and it was really fun. And I've been kind of stone-faced for like 6 weeks, going, interesting. I'm not going to say anything.
As a director and a producer, what is your secret? Because you've had several mysteries or thrillers over your career. What's the big secret on establishing a great mystery and letting it develop over the course of that run?
It's interesting because, of course, you need the script elements, which enables you to create that sort of atmosphere. But I think, in a way, what is sort of the secret of thriller has very much to do with all sorts of details. Like it's like the most minuscule details. The way somebody looks at someone when he or she says a line, or the way somebody doesn't look at someone. Because if you can catch the audience in that respect, if you can kind of catch that sort of thing, then the audience are going to start reading things in a like building on their own perception of everything. And so it really is about that. Why didn't she pick up the bag? Why didn't he give her the glass? It becomes all those weird small elements which suddenly has a completely different meaning.
Well, another key to me, because I love mysteries, is it's going to have to. People will follow along to see how it all ends the first time. But if there's any plot holes, if there's any things that aren't quite right with the project, it's not going to hold itself up to scrutiny on a second view or a third view or a fourth view.
No, it's not. And also, I think you will lose audience on the way. Like, I don't think you can kind of sustain that energy if there are holes. And I want to say that I am yet to get a question about the plot that I can't answer, because also I think David Kelly is so meticulous, and he's so kind of, I think, possibly coming from law, which he did originally or something. He has that extreme sense of having turned all the different screws, so that there are explanations for every single element.
Well, you mentioned David E. Kelly. He's one of my all-time favorite writers, especially for television, and just as prolific maybe as any writer in the history of television. I'm sure you were aware of him and knew of him. What was it like actually working with him?
It was funny. We met many years ago, where he had written a movie that we were talking about me doing, and this is really a long time ago, and then for like a lot of projects, it didn't come off, and I want to say in many cases there's probably a reason why, it was the wrong time, it was the wrong contact or whatever. But it was funny then meeting up again so long after on a project which just felt so right and so strong and so having its own energy and life. But it's been a very happy collaboration in all manner of like, he's very trusting. He's very he has very distinct opinions, but he also respect if like if I had different opinions, and it was fun.
Well, we had Hugh Grant on an interview recently, and he had mentioned that you and he almost worked together on another project. He didn't say which one, but I think I know which one it was. And you tried to develop, and it just ultimately it just didn't work out. How important for you was it to get him on this one, and how did you convince him that this was the right thing for you to team up this time?
Well, I gave him so much guilt at that point that he just had to say yes this time, and but no, I think he really liked playing Jonathan. I really think he thought it was the right part for him, and it really was. Hugh Grant is this, because he's so charming, and he was this huge, big romantic comedy star, and I think he got really fed up with it. I think he got really fed up at some point with being lovely and charming, and I think he wanted to access something darker. And I don't mean just darker in terms of evil, but also darker in terms of accessing a sadness, which I think had always been there when he played romantic comedies, and this part was right for it.
Well, this type of role needs somebody who in real life is charming. But I wanted to ask about that particular character, and I'll make sure that we put a spoiler alert without giving too much spoilery, but just a little bit of spoilery. A person like this who's been really lying to themselves all these years, not just their family and their friends. I remember on Seinfeld once, George said, "It's not a lie if you believe it." And that's why some people like that are really good at lying get away with it, because they believe their own lies. Can you talk a little bit about that as part of his character?
Well, I mean, we are getting into sort of descriptions of sociopath or psychopath, or I mean, we're getting into that area like once you start seriously believing your own lies, you are kind of in a very dangerous area. And does Jonathan believe? I think momentarily, I think he believes his own lies. I think when he says them, I think he's also someone who has gotten himself into a corner where he keeps sort of reinventing the truth. I want to say that I don't think it's quite as, it might not be innocuous saying that you believe your own lies, but I actually think that he kind of knows. I think he kind of knows what is truth. And I think there is an element of him where he gets himself to a stage where he's very convincing, but I don't know whether he always believes it himself.
We've been chatting with Nicole Kidman for many, many years on our website, and either in person or lately on web chats. And not only is she a great actress, which of course she is, but she's also a great producer. And she's been producing everything from Big Little Lies to several other projects lately. What did you find in working with her, both on the production side as well as the acting side?
She's she is brilliantly good at dividing her different roles. So when she comes to set, and she comes to set and she rehearses and she's going change and she becomes Grace and she's totally the actress. And then you can call her late at night, or you can call her over the weekend, and then she's truly the director's friend in terms of being a producer. Like she is totally supportive and really smart about it, but totally supportive and quite sort of thoughtful, and she will reflect upon things. You will say, we've got to do something about this and this and this, and she will reflect upon it and sort of come back the day after and have ideas for it. She's also I think she kind of decided that she was going to trust me quite early, and then we just it became very relaxed and very fun and very sort of kind of playful, and when she's acting, you know, she as I said, like, she comes to set and she's Nicole, and you know, she's wearing her cup of tea, and then we rehearse and we talk and we like, and then she goes into costume and makeup and everything, and she comes back and she's Grace, and she's still holding a cup of tea, now in a different way. She has this insane ability to transform herself to, it's like, I was just kind of been joking with her whether she's some kind of weird creature from outer space or something, because she does really transcend her own body and embodies another character. Almost
Susanne?
to the frightening point where...
Oh, go ahead.
Sorry. No, but almost to a point where you kind of go, hey, you got to be a bit careful with yourself, because what you're doing is kind of, it's very courageous, but it also is bound to eat up your soul a bit.
Well, Susanna, I don't know that there's been anything on television or even feature films in the past 2 months that's had more discussion and more people buzzing about it than The Undoing. And we're so thrilled to have you on with us today.
Well, thank you. I mean, it's been crazy. I mean, that whole thing, and also that it went up week by week, which I think is the first time ever in the story of HBO. And having that kind of insane buzz and that insane sort of, you know, it was the most trended show on social net. I mean, any kind of social media, and it's fantastic.
Well, thank you so much for it.
Thank you.